Our worship service today is led by Chaplain Dave Becker and members of our worship arts team. Chaplain Dave joined us this year and is serving and sharing ministry with both our congregation and our sibling congregation, Prairie Circle. Jesse Bowen, in addition to worship arts, oversees all of our buildings and grounds maintenance and needs. Alan Shear facilitates the weekly Coffee with Questions discussions, will be a representative for our congregation at the upcoming General Assembly, and is readily available whenever an extra helping hand is needed. Emmy Tanabe chairs our worship arts team and facilitates the Chalice Circle program and our mindfulness practice gatherings. We begin this morning by acknowledging that the land on which Tree of Life Unitarian Universalist congregation stands is the unceded territory of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miami, Oceti-Sakowin, Ho-Chunk, and Kickapoo peoples. Today, our meeting place in Illinois is still home to many Indigenous people, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to gather on this land.
Good morning. And welcome everyone to the Tree of Life Unitarian Universalist congregation. Know that all of you, each of you, are welcome here. Not only on this day, but just always a part of this community, a part of this congregation. Today's a special day in our church year. This day we continue to build and shape our church and our shared ministry together through our annual meeting and our process of congregational democracy, in which we strive to be a church of the people, by the people, and for the people, to borrow a phrase. And so it's fitting that before we begin the important conversations and work of this day, that this worship team is leading us in worship and reflection on renewal. Over these past 2 weeks, whenever I stop here at Tree of Life, I always take the time to walk the grounds and see what's happening with the cicadas. The very epitome of renewal. As cicadas emerge from the ground, they aerate the soil, allowing more oxygen and air and water into the ground, renewing the earth. They provide to the rest of the species around them this just sudden burst of protein for an amazing number of animals, and provide relief for the animals that would normally be prey animals and be being eaten during this time. And so this creates just a ripple effect that renews the local ecosystem in ways that will continue to be felt for years to come until they emerge again. And so this is our day of renewal, our day to enrich our soil, to enrich one another, to renew our commitments and our love for this community, and to create ripples that will continue to resonate in the year ahead and in the years to come. So come, let us worship together.
We will now light our chalice. While Jennifer Sieblick reads our chalice lighting words, you are invited to light your own chalice at home, if you would like.
Like the First Hint of Green by Jennifer McLaughlin. As the first hint of green begins to peek through the barren ground, as that little sprig grows into a healthy stem, as that stem grows into a stalk and forms a bud, as that bud slowly opens with each new day to form a yellow daffodil, let us be like that first hint of green, renewed by the warmth of the sun's rays, and ready to emerge with a new energy, ready to face the day. We light this chalice to bring a glimmer of that warmth into our space.
Please join us in recalling our mission statement. A tree of life, UUC, we nurture a community that welcomes diversity, supports the spiritual growth of its members, and acts to create a more just society. Please rise in body or in spirit for hymn 128, led by Christopher Watkins Lamb.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Good morning. I'm Emmy Tanabe. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm reading a reflection by Rabbi Sharon Brous. The call to awaken to the image of God and to the dignity of every person has been the driving force of my religious life, the very heart of my faith. What would it mean to build a society in which every person is treated as an image of the divine? How would this affect our relationships with our neighbors, our coworkers, the stranger lying beneath stained blankets and trash outside? Wouldn't it compel us to recast the cultures of our schools, organizations, and faith communities? How would it impact healthcare, education, and public policy? How would it transform law enforcement and the criminal justice system? A friend of mine goes to a church of Caribbean immigrants in downtown Los Angeles. One day, his pastor preached, "Say you're walking in downtown LA or Chicago or New York, and a naked man runs out in front of you, and he's screaming and cursing. What do? Most of us, of course, would briskly cross the street. That guy's unwell, we think. But say you live in a tiny town of maybe 50 households. You're walking around one day when suddenly a naked man runs out in front of you, and on the sidewalk he's screaming and cursing. And because you live in a tiny town, you know this man. It's Henry. You know that, you just happen to know that last week there was a terrible tragedy, and a fire burned Henry's house to the ground, leaving him with nothing. What do? Henry, you say, come with me, friend. You need a warm meal and a safe place to stay. What does it take to shift our collective consciousness from stranger who is unwell to Henry, my neighbor, who is created in a divine image? The challenge is to imagine a fundamentally different reality, a world in which we train our hearts to see even the people others would render as invisible, a world in which we recognize that we, as images of the divine, are all bound up in the bond of life with one another. And our hardest and most holy work is to not look away. For our special music this morning, we have the song We Shall Be Known, performed by the How We Thrive virtual choir.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in
I'm Alan Shear, excuse me, using he, him pronouns. The Uncovering, a reflection by Jennifer Hundley Batts. She writes, I compost obsessively. You may be a dinner companion whom I've awkwardly asked to gift me your leftover broccoli or tamale wrappers. You may be a coworker whose banana peel has been tucked away in my empty lunch container next to the apple core. It all ends up in my backyard compost pile, where you'll also find my dedication to life within, around, and beyond myself. Composting has become a spiritual practice, a way to honor the limited resources we have and to nourish what may come to us in future days. Last summer, I made a commitment to tend my little backyard garden. Then a bunch of life happened. Family time, seminary studies, work obligations, and lots of other beautiful, tough stuff. My best intentions got overgrown by a bunch of weeds, and I'm not a very effective weed puller. My allergies get in the way. My body revolts when I try to clear away the less than desirables, making that task an especially unpleasant one. But one morning, the weeding had to be done, and so I got to it. I noticed a familiar plant growing among the unwanteds. It took a little more clearing away to find it. A tomato plant waiting to be uncovered. The tiniest seed from some long ago composted tomato plant. It was there all along, just waiting for the right time, the right place to find its way. That sacred seed held all it needed to thrive. The weeds had protected it until it was time to enter the world again, to grow into what it was meant to become. The miracle of grace is like that, always available to us even when it has been left untended. This little plant is full of my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for many days to come. It's the unintended, uncovered gift that continues to give me nourishment, a tangible reminder of grace every single day. And honestly, it's not even the tomato plant I would have chosen, though I love most all tomatoes. This isn't my favorite. But here we are, my mighty little tomatoes and me, uncovered in their fullness and appreciated in their wholeness.
Hello, I'm Jesse Bowen, and I'd like to share a reflection this morning by J.D. Stillwater called Wondrous Beyond Words. He begins with this quote by Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. Our goal should be to live in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. To be spiritual is to be amazed. And he then continues, since the pandemic, I've been growing vegetables on the flat roof of my garage in big plastic tubs full of dirt. It's convenient because deer can't get up there. Rabbits can't either, or wild turkeys. Squirrels can and do, but they don't eat my vegetables. I leave the heavy containers out there over the winter because why not? In spring, it's time to transplant my seedlings. I loosen the winter-packed soil, and I always find a buried acorn or two. Now, how did those get there? With delicate white sprouts coming out, sometimes with wrinkly pastel green leaves emerging. To me, seeds are magic recipes. Most recipes are just words, instructions, nothing more. If you want bread, you need a recipe, sure. But you also need a baker to gather and measure the ingredients, mix them just so, and so on. Imagine if there were a recipe all by itself that chose the right time to start, gathered the ingredients from its surroundings, measured and mixed them just right, and incorporated them into itself to make something tasty or lofty or beautiful or intelligent. A recipe like that would be truly magical. Seeds do that every spring. Seeds are magic recipes. Eggs are too. Actually, the recipe in them is invisibly small. The seed or egg is mostly food for the zygote to use as it awakens. That minuscule set of blueprints grows from a single sleeping cell into a towering oak, gathering and measuring and mixing ingredients from its environment all by itself. I understand the biochemistry involved. I've taught it, and it's still pure magic to me. We too come from magic recipes. We are magic recipes. Every time we eat and drink and breathe, the magic recipe inside extracts exactly and only what we need, mixes it just right, and makes us who we are. Molecular biochemists are making huge strides in describing the astonishing complexity behind this magic, and it's wondrous beyond words. It's happening right outside my window and right inside my body. It's spring. There's magic everywhere.
Thank you for sharing these reflections about renewal. Each week, as we worship, we welcome the offerings that support the work of community. Many of us have already given our monetary gifts electronically. Still, we set aside this time for the spiritual practice of gratitude. If you're new to Tree of Life, please let this giving opportunity pass you by. Your presence here is your gift to us. You may make your offering in one of three ways, which are listed on your screen. For those of you in the sanctuary, you may also place your offering in the plate.
One of the most intimate ways of renewal that we participate in is we breathe constantly, moment by moment, most of the time without any thought. And yet, when we breathe with intention, we participate in that renewal, in that sustenance of our very existence. May we come together in an attitude of prayer or meditation to feel the renewal that we are experiencing right at this moment. Just we feel how we are seated, how the air is flowing in and out of the body. We feel this breath filling us, renewing us, and then leaving and carrying what is no longer needed. Our life is renewed through this breath. And now, as we breathe, we extend our awareness to feel those who are breathing around us. We are sharing the same air. Each breath we take shares the air. And in this, we feel an expanded connection to one another, our lives, part of everyone around us. And as we form this unity and communion of breathing, we feel the sense of our own being expanded, more spacious, filling the room, moving on the breath, part of this community. In this spacious, connected unity and celebration, we are more able to hold the concerns that rest on the hearts of our members and ourselves. In this expanded unity, we joyfully celebrate all that is growing and becoming within and among us. May it be so. May we take part in making it so. Amen. And now, please rise in body or in spirit for the hymn, "We Belong to One Another," performed and recorded by Ken Jansen.
We belong to one another, to each other we are bound, as we build a world together, full of joy that we have found. What we are, we to live in loving ways. As we grow, we need each other and the gifts that we can share. As our lives come to their ending, how we need each other's care. We give thanks for one another, for each heart and hand and face. We are grateful for the blessings that infuse our lives with grace. May we offer our abundance as we're given. May we give in our thanks for one another. May we help each other live.
I will now extinguish the chalice. If you have a chalice or a flame at home, you can do the same. We extinguish this flame of communal worship and now carry its light within us. We share this light. We carry its warmth to all whom we meet.
Thank you. And thanks again to our worship team for pulling together this beautiful service. It's a nice grounding as we move into the work that we have to do today. So I want to close with these words, with this blessing, that as we leave this time and space of reflection and of celebration, may we appreciate ourselves and one another in all our fullness and in all our wholeness, even when it's difficult to do so. May we be reminded that we are each and all images of the divine. May we see the divine in ourselves. May we see the divine in each other. May we see the divine in each of our neighbors in this, our shared world. And may we live this day and each day in radical amazement. May it be so, and may we make it so. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.